Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a review. I'm sorry, I don't have a review for you. I filmed some reviews already, now I'm doing Disassembly. Ah, man, long day. But this is the TuyaKnife Kingsman, I believe is the name of it. No, it's not King Slayer. I've been watching Game of Thrones, so I'm a little messed up at the moment. Well, I mean, just generally, I'm a little messed up at the... Anyways, but we are going to go ahead and take this guy apart. Now, there are some questions involved here. One of the questions I have is whether this... I know I need to disassemble this knife. I know that, for instance, the clip screw is not in play. The clip screw is not structural. We can see, actually, the clip screw goes right into the other side there. So I know I don't need to undo that to disassemble this guy. My big question here is whether these two screws right here, well, actually, I suppose these two screws right here, are what are required to disassemble the knife properly along with this, or whether I have to take off these two screws, lift off the carbon fiber. I'm actually thinking, though, that's not the case, because we see there are no other screws underneath the carbon fiber along the top here. So I'm kind of suspecting that what I'm going to be able to do is pop off this screw, and then the pivot, and then that should allow me to fully disassemble the knife without a whole lot of difficulty and trouble. I use a T6 driver here, and if you're ever curious about the tools I'm using during my disassembly videos, go ahead and check out nickshabazz.com/tools, and that'll give you a full list of everything. But anyways, I'm hoping that these two guys combined with the pivot, which, yeah, is a T8 screw, will allow me to pop this guy entirely loose. Beautiful. Well, that was easy. Nice. Smooth disassemblies. Very smooth. All right, so what do we have in here? We have no internal milling, but we have a lot of external milling for the carbon fiber, as pardon me, as well as the holes there, so we're good to go. We have the back spacer here, and as I suspected, these two screws went straight through. And we have everything else seems to go fine, so go ahead and pop those out. I'll just push the pivot through. It's not free spinning. There's a D shape in it. And by the way, that means that the pivot needs to go in such that this is that the show side, I'm sorry, the clip side needs to be put onto the knife rather than the show side. You have to build it from that direction, from the show side up, rather than the clip side down. I'm about to put oil on a cloth. Like I said, folks, I'm a little tad bit discombobulated, but hey. I have been at Blade Show recently, and in fact, I met Slicey Dicey, from whom, he's another YouTuber, he's great. But anyways, I met Slicey Dicey, and he actually picked one of these guys up, and, you know, given the option to pick one of these guys up, or to borrow his, because I've been, you know, happy to lend stuff back and forth to him. You know, it's been a beautiful thing. And so he just sent this guy to me after he had filmed his review, and that's great. But anyways, so I was at Blade Show, you know, a weekend ago. Last weekend, I was mostly just sort of recovering, so to speak, and trying to get some stuff filmed. And this weekend, I'm finally back in the swing of things. You know, I have the urgent things, and because, you know, work had been rocking my world for a little while previous. And by the way, I'm just going ahead and I'm cleaning this up. I put some rubbing alcohol, 91% isopropyl, on this little cleaning cloth here, and I'm just kind of wiping things off. Using a Q-tip to grab the other stuff where I need to. Get in there, clean out, etc. But I'm finally to the point now where I have the time, the mental fortitude, if you will, to actually get ahead and do some disassemblies. I hope I'm not working off screen here. I changed the position of my rig a little bit, and that's messing with me. Sorry about that if I am. Go ahead and yell at me in the comments. I'm sure I'll hear it. Anyways, so yeah, I'm finally getting back to actually doing disassemblies and, you know, get my pipeline back up and running. You know, I love Blade. It was a great experience. I don't mean to rub it in or anything, but it also kicked my assets, so to speak. I, you know, couldn't get off work until 3:30 on the Thursday before Blade. I caught a flight at 10:30 p.m. Then because of the Eastern time, the California time thing, you know, I ended up arriving there at 5 a.m. and then the show started at noon. It's like, oh, so that was a bit of an experience. So it was great, but there is somewhat of a refractory period before I was able to get back into doing things, you know, back into my normal life, so to speak. Okay, so, anything else worth saying here? Not really. Construction looks fine. Yeah, alrighty. So let's go ahead and start rebuilding the process here. I'll go ahead and I'll drop in the pivot first. The pivot, and I'll go ahead and put a little lubrication around it here. Using 10 weight nano oil here. I could be using knife pivot lube, but why not? Let's go ahead and put that there. I think I already plugged my tools video this time, so I don't need to do so again. I'm just rotating the bearings here so that there's a distribution of the oil on them. Alrighty, let's go ahead and put this down onto here. Already lubed the pivot, so we're good to go. I'm going to see if I can actually put the stop pin in on this side, just so that I'm putting down just a single wafer, if you will, of titanium. It's wafer thin. Sorry, Monty Python reference. Let's go ahead and put a little bit of lubrication on the detent ball path there. It's good to go. And we are about ready here. Yeah, all right. So, what I need to do now is, so it looks like the area here with the D shape for the pivot is actually facing back towards the back spaces. So what I will do is I'll go ahead and I'll just use these tweezers here and rotate that backwards such that it should be facing the right direction. Then what I'll do, good, I've dropped that into place. I've dropped that into place in the back there. Now I've got everything sort of, it's all under tension, unfortunately. So I'm not a brilliant man. What I'm going to go ahead and do is put my hand on that to keep everything under tension. I will put this onto here. This is my pivot screw. Actually, okay. Should have cleaned this off first because there's some junk up on the threads. There we go. This is one of those octopus moments where I desperately wish I were an octopus. I would be much better suited to this task, were I. All right, let's go ahead and press the pivot down into position here. Beautiful. So that's roughly tightened. That should be the worst of it, because right now the reason I was under tension is because the lock bar here was pressing down on the blade and trying to lift the scale up. Now I should just be able to drop in these two back screws, and again I'm going to use a little blue Loctite here, just to keep everything in rough positioning. I kind of suspect I could get away without it on a lot of the knives I'm working with these days, but it strikes me as Loctite is very cheap. It doesn't feel like it's worth skimping, right? You know, if I'm buying a $200 pocket knife, or whatever this actually works out to be, I haven't looked at that yet, because I haven't done my review, and I try not to find that out too quickly. But anyways, you know, it feels like you don't skimp on the Loctite when you're already this far into excess. Oh, boy. Well, that'll do. Let's see if I can loosen this up just a little tiny bit more. Oh, that action is good. That's real good. Centering is not quite perfectly on, and it is in the direction of... Yeah, okay, now we're good to go. Actually, hold on. What I'll do here is loosen that up a little bit here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen these back body screws. Just a hair. Because sometimes what happens is you have tension put into the system from the when you tighten those guys down, if you have the pivot tighter. And now at the moment I'm kind of pressing the blade a little bit in the opposite direction as I'm tightening these back body screws. Yeah, that should, yeah, we're a little bit more centered there, even though we're looser. Oh yeah, that's so smooth it makes you wonder if it's hitting. It is not hitting. Okay, well, that was easy. 9 minutes and 17 seconds. Oh, boy. I'll take it. Anyways, there you go. That was your TuyaKnife Kingsman. Hope this was interesting to you, that you enjoyed this disassembly, and that you have yourselves just an absolutely wonderful rest of the day. Look forward to giving a review to you. Bye now.